Welcome to Lawyers Who Care, the video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond for their clients. And on each episode, we will meet a new lawyer and they will share stories of where they went beyond legal counsel for the benefit of their client. My name is Andrew Samalin. I'm the principal of Samalin Wealth, a nationally recognized wealth management firm for lawyers, their firms, and their clients. And let's applaud Lawyers Who Care and learn from them. Today, my guest is Gaston Kroub, a partner in Kroub, Silbisher, and Kalmykov in New York City. Gaston practices intellectual property law. And welcome, Gaston.
Good morning, Andrew. Good to see you.
So I was hoping to butcher your firm name, and unfortunately it came out correctly, so we no longer have a good joke that we can joke about.
That's fine. You gave a valiant effort, and it was successful, so let's celebrate that.
Okay, great. So tell us about the firm. Before we do that, tell us how you came to your profession.
Yeah, so I was actually pre-med in college. I went to school undergraduate at NYU in New York City. I grew up in Brooklyn. I still live in Brooklyn, so I'm very much a New York City person, a lifer, as they say. So I went to school locally. I was pre-med in college, and I ended up taking both the MCAT and the LSAT. Did better on the LSAT, so ended up in law. And over the course of my law school career, became very interested in intellectual property. So I kind of exhausted all the classes that I was able to take in that area. And then fortunately was able to, continue in that vein. Eventually I passed the patent bar. So I'm a registered patent attorney. And I ended up starting my career in the New York office of a large international law firm, doing patent litigation, primarily branded pharmaceutical litigation. So, it was definitely a process to get to where I was, but once I was there, I was fortunate to really enjoy the work and really enjoy the people I was working with. So it was a great start.
And so, in this evolution of your, undergrad, law school, passing the bars, and you had mentioned that you had done some not-for-profit work. How did that fit into, or how did that shape your career and your path?
Yeah, so I think from, really going back to my high school days, right? I went to a Jewish day school in Brooklyn, and we had a yearly requirement where we had to do a certain number of service hours, right? On top of the academic rigor and everything we were doing, from an extracurricular perspective, it was really ingrained in us to give back, right? And to look at the community, the broader community around us, and look for opportunities to make an impact. So, kind of coming out of that, out of that soil, as I progressed in my career, I was always looking for opportunities to do more than just, bill hours, do good work for my clients, and, try to be a good firm citizen. So when the opportunity presented itself to get involved with a pro bono project that was just getting off the ground, I thought it was perfect because it really targeted my interests. But it was also something that was very doable. Keep in mind, as a young associate, I was very busy. I had a young family. I had two of my sons were already born, and I was spending all my time in the office that I wasn't at home. And one of the problems with pro bono generally for lawyers, especially if you're very busy doing client work, is that it could create conflicts, right? You want to do well, you want to help people, but you're not really in a position where you control your own schedule. And if you're working on a pro bono project, unless it's set up a certain way, it could really lead to issues, kind of conflicting with your practice. And so one of the things that attracted me to the Family Court program that I'm sure we're going to talk about a little bit more is the fact that it allowed me to make a substantial time commitment, but one that I controlled, but also has, with allowing me to make a direct impact in the lives of people, which is all you want, when you're donating your time and your energy. So, thankfully everything came together, and I was fortunate enough to be working at a law firm that was, very much pro volunteer efforts, and was spearheading this project along with a number of other big firms in the city and some corporate legal departments. So getting in from the beginning was critical, and I was lucky to have the opportunity, really.
And so, what was that program that you had set up that you had referenced?
So I definitely can't take credit for setting it up, but the firm I was at, Greenberg Traurig, was one of the firms that spearheaded it. Basically, the idea was that the New York City family courts, which deal with a lot of very important issues in the lives of New York City residents, um, it's a place where, at the time, over 95% of the parties, right, whether they're the mother, whether they're father, whether they were grandparent, whoever was involved, was not represented by a lawyer. And the idea behind the program was to help the court do a better job of administering justice in these highly charged, very emotional situations by giving non-represented litigants, regular people that couldn't afford a lawyer, the opportunity to sit and meet with a lawyer for a consultation, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The idea would be have volunteer lawyers that don't work for the family court, train them in the basics of family law, introduce them to the court system, and then we would literally staff an office, starting in the Brooklyn family court, and just meet with people that had, some looking for child support, or having a paternity question, or dealing with an order of protection issue, and sitting down client by client, 20 to 30 minutes at a time, and trying to give them good, actionable advice that then they could take into their court hearing, or thinking about what petition to file or what next steps they would need to make. So it was really a joint effort, right? The court saw a need, because it's a very busy court, and the judges are, very dedicated, but they work really hard, and you're constant flow of people. The court saw a need to help litigants be more informed, and obviously, the good people of Brooklyn, and by extension New York City, that are involved in these types of disputes or these issues, they benefit from talking with lawyers that are trained and able to help them and give them guidance. So it was kind of a win-win for everybody involved. From the perspective of the volunteer, it was fantastic because, first of all, I believe that any lawyer benefits from talking to regular people as much as possible, right? From when we go to law school to when we go work in a law firm, we're kind of in a bubble, and interacting with regular people is just helpful, no matter what you do in your career, whether you're on the litigation side or the transactional side. The other thing is, this was a direct impact. I would literally be sitting in the office one day a month for a morning, meeting with 4, 5, 6 people that otherwise would never have the opportunity to speak to a lawyer. Sometimes there was a baby in the room because it was a working mother that couldn't afford daycare, and she's coming to the court. So in terms of direct impact and really feeling like giving back to the place where I was born, the place where I live, and trying to make it a little bit better based on my legal knowledge, it was great. The other feature, and this harkens back to something I said before, the other feature that was really attractive about this program was that the commitment was time-based, but under your control. Each firm that was participating committed to send volunteers 1 or 2 mornings a month, or 1 or 2 afternoons a month. So there wasn't this ongoing commitment to a client where you could have that conflict where your pro bono client has a hearing in Manhattan at the same time as I'm doing a patent
Right.
case in Texas.
And
So it
and
really had all
Gaston,
those
the
elements.
question is how, and that's unbelievably great work, and how you were able to have those two components work across the board. How has that informed your IP work as a
So
practitioner?
yeah, so I think it's a great question, Andrew, and it really comes down to one of the things that attracted me most to IP litigation in the first place. One of the benefits of being an IP litigator is you get to work with creators, you get to work with innovative people, and guess what? They have an emotional attachment to their
Mhm.
creations, very much similar to the types of emotional attachments that we all have to our families. So there's actually a very, I think, powerful synergy between working in volunteering in family court and working in your day job as a IP attorney, because you learn to be sensitive to the emotional motivations behind what clients want and what they're hoping to achieve. If I'm representing a creator, an innovator, they're going to be looking for some validation, from some recognition by the adversary that what they did was valuable, that what they created, contributed to the world. very similar to our hopes as parents, right? We want our children to be, positive contributions to society. And even if I'm on the defense side, right? If I'm representing a company that's accused of IP infringement, it's important to recognize, how your adversary is looking at the world and how your adversary's client is looking at the world. So I'm very much sensitive to the emotional component of both of these areas of law, and I actually think they're very much in harmony with each other, and it helps on a number of fronts to be able to do the volunteer work alongside the paid work or the day-to-day job as a litigator.
Of course. By the way, this is the Lawyers Who Care video show podcast that highlights attorneys who go above and beyond. Today, my guest is Gaston Kroub. He's a partner in Kroub, Silbisher, and Kalmykov in New York City. Their focus is on intellectual property. And Gaston, for those that want to contact you, what is the best way?
Well, I have, obviously anybody could email me, gkroub@kskiplaw.com.
Can you say that
I
again?
also, yeah, G Kroub. So it's the letter G, Kroub at kskiplaw.com. I also write a biweekly column now on abovethelaw.com on intellectual property issues. So you feel free to engage me with there and send me an email based on something I wrote. But I'm always happy to hear from folks. One of the actually great joys, Andrew, about being involved with this family court program for almost 20 years now is the ability to work with younger lawyers that are just coming into the system. I mean, just yesterday morning, I did 3 virtual consultations, and there was a younger lawyer that was shadowing me. So, being the old hand and the one that's experienced at doing the consultations, but also, inculcating in the next generation of lawyers the importance of giving back is really one of the benefits of just sticking around and sticking with something for as long
Time
as I have.
flies, doesn't it?
Oh, and we were having that joke yesterday. I was the court attorney that runs the program. We were talking about our kids in college, and we remember 20 years ago our kids were being born. So it's a very, it's a stark reminder that we really have to maximize our time and
Yeah.
maximize our impact the best we can.
For sure. By the way, this again, Lawyers Who Care video show podcast. We highlight attorneys that go above and beyond. If you're an attorney or know one that does, feel free to reach out to us at 914-666-6600, 914-666-6600. Gaston, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andrew, for the opportunity, and I hope that this encourages other lawyers to give back.